People, deluded, I'm back again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, in some cases, good night. Please do make sure you're smashing the like button. Big up you lot if you're on Twitch. Now, Arsenal have been linked with Greek Wonderkids. Declan Rice has obviously given an interview. Bukayo Saka, we're all waiting for his return. Some are as optimistic as March and as pessimistic as really and truly April, but I'd extend that to the end of the season. Personally, I don't know where I fit on that scale, if I'm completely honest with you. So yeah, man, there's a lot of bits and pieces to come. Obviously today at 3 p.m. I'll have Lee Judges come on. We got the gaffer, and at 7:50, 10 minutes before kickoff, it's obviously Manchester City against Real Madrid. So yeah, man, there's always content, whether it's live bits and pieces of content, whether it's cut up clips. Make sure you're following on both platforms as well, people, as well as Spotify and all those good things, man. You know, make sure you lot get deluded clips going crazy. So yeah, man, smash the like button. Big up you lot watching it on the replay. Let's crack on, man. Now, Declan Rice has given an interview. I'd imagine this was done maybe last week, because realistically the boys are in Dubai and this does not look like it was in Dubai, really and truly. Declan Rice has a nickname in the Arsenal squad. He's known by his teammates as the Horse. Okay, it's positive. Zinchenko started it and then Jorginho went with it. Now everyone starts calling me it. I think it's because they think I can run all day, that I'm athletic, my ability to go again, my sustainability and availability to the team. Availability to the team, even the quote-unquote more durable players, the Kai Havertz's, the Declan Rice, the Gabriel Magalhaes's, the Salibas, the Bukayo Saka's. I don't know if I've said it, but Benjamin White, even their fitness has been tested, really and truly. I mean, I don't know if I would want to be nicknamed the Horse, but I hear it, man. You know, it's just banter and whatnot. He said, even 2 days since the last game, I'm running around in training. They think I'm a madman. I don't mind the nickname, but I just have to keep going. Are we gonna that? Is there anything of respectfully to all that stuff, Declan Rice? It's nothing personal with you, but really, Sky Sports got you out here to do that. Is there anything of substance in this interview? He said, it's a real purple patch, especially for a player who's often used as a sitting midfielder. Really? He's been playing as an 8. This new gear has also been recognized by Mikel Arteta, who Rice has added bite to his game. Now, I must admit, my opinion is changing. I still maintain Declan Rice's bread and butter is him as a 6, but I understand with, you know, progressing. I think big up Inner Circle, because he said it. He's like, Declan Rice can't play as a 6. I'm like, what are you talking about? He did that at West Ham. He's made his name off being a 6. And then he presented a different argument. As I've said, I'm a person that when you present me with new information, I look at it differently. And long story short, Inner Circle is a mod here, kind of made reference to like progressing the ball, getting it off the centre halves and whatnot. And from that angle, I hear why he probably won't be a 6 at Arsenal. I think he's finding his feet in the 8. He's obviously over the last 2 years added goals and assists, could do a bit more. I do wonder how much blood you can draw from that stone. Like, he's never going to be Frank Lampard. We all know we need midfield reinforcements. We need a couple, in my opinion. In an ideal world, Partey keeps up this form and availability, signs a 1-year deal with an option of another. We get a 6, probably Zubimendi. Declan Rice continues. I know people don't want to hear it, but Mikel Merino is there. So we'll have to see. And to be fair to Rice, man, I mean, the man's played with a broken toe. I'm all for criticisms and praise, but I just think too much is done about in relation to Declan Rice. There's several problems at this football club before we look at Declan Rice anyways, and he's one of our more reliable players. It's really nice to hear. It probably was a slower start to the season for me coming off the back of the Euros, probably because I've been so consistent over the last few years, but now I'm hitting form and full fitness at the right time. I know that could be said for you as an individual. Collectively at Arsenal, I don't know. But I knew I had to up my game, my level. Over the last few months, I've been watching lots of clips, sitting with the analysts and seeing where I can improve. There's been gradual, really good increase. So I'm going to keep going until the back of the season. He then said, with me being a box-to-box midfielder, it's key. And you are, I mean, fair enough. You are a box-to-box midfielder. I think myself included, all of us, we get too hung up on this 6 and 8 sort of stuff. Like, really, in this day and age where everything's got a bit too woke. We all know that January / the Christmas period was busy. We played 11 games in 36 days. If we want to be a team that's competing in all 4 comps, smash the like button. We need it. And where you've got Declan Rice coming off the back of 2, you know, jam-packed seasons, obviously the Euros, you're playing catch up kind of with pre-season. It's known, in it, and you know, on at least 3 occasions in the last 18 months, Mikel Arteta has made reference to us having one of the smallest squads, us needing to maximize the market going into this season. He actually said on his own Sky Sports interview that we've got a squad of 19, 3 or 4 long-term injuries. It's not sounding like we really want to put our best foot forward collectively as a football club. Over the past 2 years, Declan Rice has faced more football than most, dating back to the 2022-23 season that was impacted by a Winter World Cup in Qatar. That season also saw him play extra games in West Ham's Conference League triumph, while Euro 2024 saw him become the only outfield player in the entire tournament to play every single minute from the group stage to the final. Most minutes by players in the Premier League of all comps since August the 5th, 2022. Van Dijk, Declan Rice, Bruno Fernandes, Thomas Soucek, and Bernardo Silva up there. Fair enough. But again, I just want to hear what Rice has had to say. It's just been down to the way I've played, the way I've trained, and the way I've dedicated myself to the game. I'm 26 and played hundreds of games already, but I want to keep pushing for more, getting more games, wanting to be available. I don't want to be sitting on the bench. I don't want to miss out on games. I want to be there every available opportunity. If I can keep that going for the next games and the games beyond, I'll be happy. Then he also said, I never really took into that side of the game until the nutritionist at Arsenal sat me down, went through it properly, and showed me how your body works and what you have to be eating and drinking consistently to be top of your game. That's a really important part of me now. With the number of games we're playing, it's probably the most important part. Once we've played the games, it's how we go again in a few days' time. It's really tough. Every player has a different routine and lives differently. The staff at the club are the main ones on it, and it keeps us going. You're away from home a lot of the time. There's hotels, travels, and a lot of away games. There's a lot in the mind, but when you're competing for stuff at the top end of the game, it's about how much you want it. Amen. Share that to your teammates. That's why I keep myself going, and I know it's the same story for my teammates, because this year we want to achieve something really good, which I hope so, people. He said there's still a long way to go. The manager said in a press conference the other week, no matter what, the only thing we can worry about is ourselves. By the end of the season, we'll be there. We'll keep believing in what we believe in, working on what we're working on, and have full trust in the manager, players, and everyone around us that we can achieve great things. It's down to us to get over that line. Big things are coming. We need to stay positive and keep going. Hope it can be the case, man. Tyler said strong PR there. Arsenal's a PR club nowadays. You lot are not happy at that at all. Now, allegedly, Bukayo Saka is making progress towards his Arsenal return, and as you know, was pictured looking focused in a gym workout in the training camp in Dubai. He's slated allegedly for a return in March after obviously injuring his hamstring against Crystal Palace. As I said, some ITK say April, some say as back as early March. Who knows, people? I think we all want him to come back at the best time. I mean, if he's been signed off fit and he feels good and he wants to go again, great. But what I would say is, contrary to popular belief, I think a lot of these players care. And if Saka knows that, okay, I'm 99.9% fit, I feel a little voice in the back of my head, I feel something. Is he necessarily going to be honest and tell the physios that, which obviously could have a detrimental effect? We all know we need Saka in it. We're relying on our faith is in Ethan. Big up Ethan, talented player, earned that right. But for us to try and do something in the Prem or the Champs or whatever, to place those expectations on his shoulders is ridiculous. And then you get into Kai Havertz, which, say what you want, he's probably been a lot more consistent on the goal front and in terms of expectation than some of his attacking colleagues, which for me tells you why we're kind of in this mess. Respectfully to Kai Havertz, if I'm saying that we're not serious about winning a trophy, etc., people. I know a lot's been made on social media of the scars for Saka. Again, just want him to come back fully fit. I think, you know, Saka responds to adversity in a great way. I think he'll be all right. He's more likely to return to the Arsenal squad in early April as opposed to early March, in which the season could be said and done. As we know, all our hopes naturally is going to be in Bukayo Saka. You have to allow him to get back to full fitness, get back into the rhythm and groove of things as well. And it is what it is. He's carrying his hamstring injury. He's got the scar, obviously, from surgery, so battle wound. And he's a match winner for us. You look at his GA versus the Big Six. Again, it doesn't matter what they have to say. He's contributed 4 against City, 6 against Liverpool, 5 against Chelsea, 5 against United. Spurs are not a big team, really. So it's really the big 5 and Spurs. But he has 6 against them regardless. And again, most big chances created per 90 in Europe's top 5 leagues this season. Saka is at 1.34, which, again, this ain't me gassing up Saka because we got past the point of that. We all know he's great. We have nobody that offers us even 50% either in Saka's position or on the left. And it would be romantic if, with the injuries and all the stuff we've been through, if Liverpool somehow drop enough points to make the Premier League race back on really and truly, if we do something in the Champs. But I don't like romance. I do, shout me, Gally. I'm single, Valentine's Day soon. But you need to look at the cold-hearted facts. Unfortunately, we don't have enough to be winning serious trophies. Despite not playing since the 21st of December, Saka has created more big chances than any other player in the Premier League. So we've got no one that Might not be where Saka is, but even 50% as such. It's a madness, people. Now, Alexander Isak, allegedly, people, where Barcelona's concerned, he's a principal target for the summer with Newcastle. And I'm sure Newcastle will be happy to sell abroad. Whether Barcelona can cook the books is another thing. Of course, he would be the dream for me as an Arsenal fan, but the dream is one thing, the reality is another. It's going to take big money, and even then, you're not guaranteed. And if Newcastle were pushed to sell, I think they're more likely to maybe even sell someone like Bruno Gomares, a couple of other squad players before they have to. We all know he's got 2-3 years left on his deal. They could be qualifying for the Champions League, especially if there's 5 Premier League places, so it is what it is in that regards, man. Would love Isak, 14 shirts free, Sociedad reunion. We all know all of this stuff, people. But yeah, Barcelona apparently are the primary objective for Barcelona is to go for Isak. And I mean, he's played in Spain before. Barcelona's a magical club. There's a striking position there for him. Apparently, he's already made a clear decision about his future. He'll ask to leave in the summer and join Barcelona as a surprise signing. Isak has decided to leave Newcastle this summer and join Barcelona. Now, Barcelona needs no introduction in it. But Newcastle do have an exciting manager in Eddie Howe. They've got an exciting project. When they're able to get through PSR, they're going to add more quality. They got ambitious owners. I'm not obviously respectfully to Newcastle. Barcelona would turn my head as well. And you got to remember Sunday Spain versus Newcastle, but he's idolized there. And again, whether it's Bars, I'm sure Newcastle naturally are more open to selling him abroad than to Arsenal, even if that is a thing, or even Chelsea are linked with him. But it comes down to the finances, especially in this day and age when there is no, the striker market's horrible, people. What do you lot make of this Paul Scholes thing? Smash the like button and let me know. Everybody in relation to Isak. Everybody loves him, but I don't see a possibility of him going to Arsenal. He needs to go bigger and better. We're talking about Real Madrid. Liverpool need a forward. I think Arsenal would be an option, but I think they would be down the list of options. I don't mean that in a bad way, but he's at Newcastle, a really good team, a brilliant team, but they're not going to win league titles. That's the next stage of his career. I agree with this next stage of his career. I think it'd be a risk to go to Arsenal and do the same. Liverpool have got a better chance. Man City and Real Madrid the same now. Real Madrid needs no introduction. They're flushed with attacking options. Man City got Haaland. I think his sight should be higher than Arsenal. He's a player Man United would be looking at, but in the position we're in now, it's not going to happen. I agree he takes Arsenal to another level. He'd be brilliant and he could possibly get you over the line. I just think there's bigger and better in him. Now, unpopular opinion, I don't think Isak gets Arsenal over the line. Let me take it for dramatic effect. Now, what I mean by that is, of course, we score 90 odd goals occasionally through the last couple of years. We've shown we could be a team that can put you to the sword and score 3, 4, 5 goals, right? On occasion. We all know you can talk about the many different goal scorers, the 90 odd goals. When push comes to shove, when you have the 2 games like Aston Villa, the last couple in the last 2 years against Newcastle, West Ham at the Emirates last season, you need a cold-hearted killer. So by that logic, we're turning defeats into draws into victories. Isak helps. But I find it really uncomfortable to think one player is going to make the difference. Maybe if you're in a case like City where every aspect of your team is fixed, and then you get a little Haaland, he's getting you over the line. We're not like that. He would play a massive part, but I don't think it's down to one man. That's like Real Madrid just signing Mbappe and thinking, yeah, you're going to guarantee for the next decade, you alone are going to win us the Premier League. I don't think Paul Scholes is wrong there. Barcelona must make a decision on Gyökeres. So maybe there's a bit of nonsense in relation to, I have no doubt Barcelona are interested in it. It's like everybody's interested in good players, but the news kind of coming out. Gyökeres is someone that I think Arsenal probably have scouted, but I think where you look at Sesko and Isak, whether they're going to happen or not, it seems like there's credible interest. Where Gyökeres is concerned, it's more paper talk than actually what's going on in the club, if that makes sense. Real Madrid are more likely to make a move to sign William Saliba in the summer as he ranks among their top targets. Saliba's got 2 years left on his deal. Let's hope that isn't the case. If that is the case, Arsenal will make a move to sign Guehi if Saliba leaves. And where you look at Diamande, not really Hato because he could still play, but Hato, Guehi, every now and again, Arsenal are linked with some like higher ticket centre-backs. I think we could do with another defender, but you're not going to sign someone which, how much is Guehi going to cost? He's got like 2 years left on his deal, 60, 70 odd million. You're not going to do that when you've got Saliba and Gabriel, 2 centre-backs at this club that need to sign new deals. Apparently, Arsenal expect to finally land Espanyol keeper Juan Garcia in the upcoming summer window. The Gunners are still keen to add competition and cover between the sticks after attempting to sign the 23-year-old last year. Now, I have no doubt, that will go back for him, because apparently we spoke with his agent, who has the same agent as Morata. We all know we tried to get him in the summer. We all know when we move away from central midfield, wide areas and strikers, we probably need a goalkeeper or two. I just wonder, yeah, and you look at Mikel Arteta's track record with goalkeepers, it seems like Raya's going to be here the longest, but we've seen, well, even before, maybe even before Arteta, but we've seen what Leno and Czech, Leno and Ramsdale and Raya. Martinez was here for 2 minutes. You never know. Like, Arteta could be looking at this guy to maybe take Raya's spot one day. I don't know. But where you look at it, he's spoken about in Spanish quarters as a player that could help the national team be a full Spanish international one day. He's an Olympic champion. He's actually in the last 18 months really became a regular like that for Espanyol. And at 23 years of age, you never know. Mikel Arteta, you could rotate your goalkeepers and all of that, but we know that's probably nonsense. With all of that, how long is a 23-year-old going to want to sit on the bench before getting a bit agitated? Because you're not going to, God forbid, unless there's injuries or form, you're not going to play that much in the Premier League over a 38-game calendar. You'd imagine the Champions League, yes, it's a league format, but until it's confirmed we're through, you're not going to get game time there. The League Cup and the FA Cup is your bread and butter. But if you look at it on the face of it now, if he was here, we're out of those two competitions. So how long is a 23-year-old going to want to sit there? And I'm not saying he's a waste of money or not a good goalie, right? But when you look at it, when you look at it, we need to put significant investments into midfield, into out wide and up front, right? That's before talking about wages being saved and players leaving. 20 million isn't that much, but do you have to buy a keeper for 20 odd million? And where you look at half of the targets we're linked with, yeah, like let's assume Garcia is realistic, Sesko's realistic, Zubamendi's realistic. We do hear rumors that Arsenal are prepared to pay more than the release clause, to pay less pay more. Pay less upfront and like over a longer time, if that makes sense, more favorable installments, right? But then when you look at it, yeah, apart from Isak, who's probably a dream more than anything, half the players we're linked with have release clauses. So is our scouting, are we really doing up scouting like that? Now, admittedly, I don't care if man got release clauses, they're signed for 10 million or 100 million, as long as they identify the areas we need to identify and marry the depth, great. But you do somewhat wonder what Arsenal are doing. And I think in the summer, to end up with Raheem Sterling, Neto, Moreno, it showed an inability and no forward to pivot, really. And what I mean by that as well, that's a new article we can go through. Smash the like button, people. Don't think your comments are being left out. I'm just trying to do the show a different route, if it makes sense. Trying new things. But yeah, my man's contracted until 2028. He's only played 52 times, 26 times in La Liga, 14 times in the Segunda division, right? So this season, right now in La Liga, he's played 23 games. So that's him. If we go back last season, how many times did you play? Oh gosh, what's going on here? Let's go all comps, man, because you're doing us dirty there. In the second division, yeah, you played 14 times in the second division. So you really just broke through as Espanyol's number one. Yes, he's young for a goalie, and 23 as a footballer, as a goalie is very different to an outfield player. But you've really just broke in. So how long are you really going to want to sit on the bench? Been capped all the way up to 21's level. If we go back the season before last, where does that take us? If it'd be kind enough. He played once in La Liga, and I don't even know if he was even in the first team like that in 21-22, but we can look. He played twice. So you get the point, innit? This is someone that's just really getting regular first team football. And if you are really that good, that move will come one day to a club which is respectfully bigger than Espanyol, where you're going to play. Now, if this guy is the best thing since sliced bread, he's got potential to be better than Raya. He can take Raya's spot. With the greatest of respect to Raya, who I think's barely put a foot wrong, then naturally you want that. I love Bukayo Saka, but if there was a player twice the ability of Saka that wanted to join Arsenal, that's feasible, naturally you're going to want to bring that in, really and truly, in it. So we're going to have to see. Now, in relation to Sesko, people, Sesko remains Arsenal's priority. Big up Tom Canton. Check out that live stream if you didn't, all the cut-up clips we spoke about Sesko. But where it comes to Sesko, until I wake up and I see Sky Sports have said Arsenal have agreed a deal for him to join in the summer, I like the guy, but I just don't care no more, because you can't help us this year. You can't help us this year. You can only help us next year at the very minimum. And yeah, if we've really been putting the groundwork to Zubamendi, to Sesko and all of these guys, That doesn't mean we have if you've tempted him and he wants Arsenal or nothing, great. But everybody's going to be interested. You know, Chelsea, Arsenal, Man United were all linked with Sesko last summer. We all saw his agent throughout the Premier League last year at all of these grounds. So do the groundwork. My thing is pivot. Because I am not here to talk about next season, because at the moment, whatever we have to play for or not to play for, we're still in this year, right? But my thing is pivoting. If Sesko, Zubamendi, Garcia, if these are the ones you want, great. But how many years are we going to keep having we tried, we couldn't get our target, there's no player on the market? Respectfully to Sesko, he's not Lionel Messi. If you try to go for Messi and you can't get Messi, great, fair enough. But there's other players that can do a job. You need to pivot. We need to be going into the 2025-26 season with a striker, with another centre mid, with a winger. Like, if you, again, I always say this, if you picture Arsenal's first team 11, whatever you have to say, we'd all probably differ about who's going to play left back and right back, maybe left wing. But you need a striker, with the greatest of respect to Kai Havertz. Martinelli, Trossard, all you guys, big up you lot. You need a left winger, right? You need a central midfielder. So the depth needs to be improved. 100%, the depth needs to be improved. And then obviously the starting 11 quality. If them two things are not addressed, we're not serious. And it wasn't addressed. In the circle, allow it, man. Big up yourself. I see you comment, like, in the comment section. I wasn't getting at you, my guy. And I was praising you earlier because I think you've changed you played a massive role, as I said, in how I view Rice as a 6. But yeah, we all know we want Sesko. 94 goals plus 24 assists, people, in 209 career games at what, 20, 21, 22. Bring him in it. Like, I'm not saying Sesko's going to be the biggest and baddest, but you got two options as Arsenal, maybe even more. You either put the money down, whether you can get Isak or not, you put the money down. At least if you bid that 100, 110, 120, we know where your cards are. You either pay the going rate for these players, or you find alternatives, or you find these breakouts. You know, it's been 3 years since Newcastle spent 80 million, obviously, on Isak, right? It's fair to say that was a good investment. So could Sesko be that in the next? Could he be one that in the next 2 years he's the name on everyone's lips? I don't know, people. Apparently, Leipzig are undecided on whether to cash in on Sesko. Now, we've heard the language change from a release clause to a gentleman's agreement. We hope everybody in life honors their gentleman's agreement, right? But in business, if it's not in cold-hearted writing, in contractual terms, I's dotted, T's crossed, who knows? And if you're Leipzig, you're not going to force Sesko out necessarily, but you know you've got an appreciating asset. You know Premier League teams who are flush with cash and getting richer are going to buy. You know United need a forward, Chelsea need a forward, Arsenal need a forward, Barcelona need a forward, you know, and then probably some others. So who knows? If they don't want to cash in, they don't want to cash in. And he signed a new deal until 2029. So let's hope we can get that one over the line. We need to get sporting director. Liverpool are frustrated with Jota's injury record and mid-interest from Arsenal. Now, in terms of ability and what you could offer the squad, if they were the only two factors, I'm having Jota. But Arsenal tax plus his injury record, it don't make sense, really. And I don't know whether I buy us being linked with Jota, because it seems like where you look at Liverpool-based news, they're growing frustrated for whatever reason with, pardon me, Diaz and Jota. So if you're frustrated with Diaz, Jota, Chiesa is on loan, you're probably going to shut him back. Darwin Núñez is linked with a move away. Is it fair to say Liverpool are lining up an attacking target of their own? Imagine they've actually been linked with Sesko. Imagine they get Sesko to go with a Salah new deal. Crazy, but it is what it is in that regards. Arteta is keen to strengthen his team's attacking firepower this year. I mean, if you clip that up, you could apply that to any sort of year, people. We've been linked with Moise Kean, as we know, people. He has a 52 million euros release clause, which equates to about 43 million quid. Allegedly, Arsenal and Spurs are looking at him. He's got 15 goals for Fiorentina this season in 22 appearances. Only Atalanta attacker Matteo Retegui scored more goals in the league than Keane, another player who's we've been linked with. Now, I'd imagine scouting doesn't mean you're going for him, but it's easy to link Arsenal with a variety of strikers. Allegedly, Arsenal are among 4 Premier League clubs to have initiated contact with Olympiacos ahead of a potential summer move for striker. Forgive me, I'll attempt it, but bloody hell, mate. Charlampos Kostelas, forgive me for mispronunciation, 17, and midfielder Christos Mouzakratis. And Arsenal would like to sign both players if possible. Well, I mean, if they're emerging talents and they've got potential to be bought for a couple of million and sold for a lot, great. If they walk into the first team, even better, people. Romano and Sesko said the understanding is that there'll be a chance for Sesko to try something different in the summer. So Arsenal will be there for sure. He's one of the top strikers in their list. They believe he could be a top candidate for the striking position. And if you just get us a striker and a winger, unpopular opinion, I do think obviously Jesus' ACL is an issue, but if you get a talismanic striker and another winger to go with Saka, the Martinellis, the Kai Havertz's, the Trossards, they can contribute. We're typically in 4 competitions. There's everything. So yeah, man. It is what it is in that regards. Apparently, Flamengo are still trying to sign Jorginho before the Brazilian transfer window closes on the 28th of February. I think we all can agree weird things have happened, but it's probably unlikely Jorginho leaves mid-season. His contract runs up at the end of this season, and he'll keep it moving. But it's fair to say he's cutting in it, people. What is all of this? Arsenal and Liverpool may be interested to learn that Fabrizio Romano is tipping Borussia Dortmund winger Adeyemi as one to watch for the summer. He's got a new agent. He has been linked with Arsenal. Can play up front as well as on the left and the right. Very frustrating, but very talented, and did appear to be on the verge of signing for Napoli in the recent January window. We've gone over Moise Kean. I'm not going to bore you lot with that again, people. And again, we know we've been linked with Jota. We were once upon a time linked with PSV Eindhoven's 21-year-old Bakayoko, who twisted up Liverpool actually in the last game in the Champions League. Newcastle apparently preparing a 40 million summer bid. So you couldn't get one of these project kind of players in January. Man United are monitoring Cunha's development very closely. He has a release clause worth just over 60 million this summer, and he's someone that has been linked with us, is still being linked with us, and probably is still going to be linked with us. Whether we sign him's another thing. Arsenal and Rafinha are always linked with each other. Apparently, Barcelona want to renew his current contract by a further 2 years, probably their player of the season. Now, Xavi Simons, it appears, is signed for Leipzig on a permanent. That hasn't stopped him being linked with Manchester City. He'll cost 100 million. We've heard Arsenal have had accredited interest, but we're not going to spend that kind of bread on him, are we, people? Going back to the stuff around the Greek Wonderkids, we're not alone. It says Aston Villa are in the race for him, as well as 4 others. Apparently, they've been regular starters for Olympiacos, people, helping them claim 14 wins and 6 draws, despite being 17 and 18. So they have got some transferable experience. We'll have to see, really and truly. Costalos is a centre forward, and he's already shown he's capable of finding match-winning moments as he scored a brace. Fair enough. I mean, if they're good enough, bring them in. If they're not, they're not. Again, free transfers are going to be a theme. Apparently, United are looking to strengthen their squad this summer and have looked at Angel Gomez, who used to play for them. Smash the like button, people. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Leroy Sané, Jonathan David, and obviously Jonathan Tah. I only mention this because I'm pretty sure we're going to start getting linked with Dominic Calvert-Lewin again. Jonathan David could be a market opportunity. Sané is easy to link with our football club. Every now and again, Angel Gomez is. Tah, you could make a case of us needing another centre-back, but it seems like he's going by Munich. Lennon Patterson, who was a trialist at Arsenal, signed for Sheffield United. He was seen in first-team training and played in the youth game. Best of luck for your future. Celtic have more or less confirmed Kieran Tierney has signed a pre-contract agreement to leave Arsenal and rejoin them this summer. Celtic have confirmed that Kieran Tierney will return to the club in July 2025. In their latest interim financial report published on Monday, Celtic confirmed that the fullback has signed a pre-contract agreement and will return in July, people. So, yeah, best of luck, Teeny, man. Best of luck. Mikel Arteta is set to let go of 7 players to fund a huge summer spending spree, says The Sun. And we're at that point as Arsenal fans where this is the rhetoric. Now, really and truly, does this really make sense? Because it doesn't count. Neto and Sterling do not count because they're on loan. Kivior's linked with moves away anyways. Partey, well, to be fair, it's the way the language of this is written in it, because about 5 of those players, it's irrelevant. On paper, they're leaving. Neto and Sterling's deals are running out. Tierney, Partey, and Jorginho's deals are running out. Zinchenko's stock has fallen, and even with MLS taking what could have been his spot as well. And obviously, Kivior isn't getting regular football, so it's not as the headline makes it sound a lot more exciting, really, than it should be. Apparently, Arsenal rejected the chance to sign Marcus Rashford in January, people, which, I mean, great. We understand all of Mikel Arteta's targets were players Arsenal had done plenty of due diligence on and represented long-term striking options for the Gunners. Arsenal never wanted to simply sign a stopgap option over the winter, and despite believing Rashford is a talent who they admire from a distance, a deal was never seriously considered. Unpopular opinion, and big up Tom because he said that, yeah, you want to sign someone for the long term, but at the end of the day, spanners get thrown in the works. It's like a job. You might want to play, you might want a job in, I don't know, the entertainment industry, but you need to pay your bills. So you're taking a job in a fast food restaurant just to make sure you can pay your bills, you've got money, etc. That's a stopgap. That doesn't mean it's a bad thing. And we definitely don't job shame here, people. You could have, we saw, end of the day, you didn't do what you needed to do in the summer. You might not have had any intention of signing anyone in Jan. Things happen. You needed to pivot. Ultimately, we're relying on the young Ethan. Martinelli, since the window shut, is now injured. You've got your 2 first-choice wingers out. And this is all assuming nobody else gets injured. Doesn't really make sense to me, people. I'm not even saying we should have signed Rashford. Apparently, our chances of winning the Champions League stands at 16.9%, which ranks us higher than Inter Milan's 14.8%. Liverpool are the favourites with 24.5%. I think Arsenal rated a bit too highly there, and we've been there before, but who knows, people. At 3 p.m, people, I'm going to be here with Lee Judges, so make sure you're here with me. We'll ask him his thoughts on Jota, on Saka, and got a couple of other talking points. Feel free to join us. And later today, it's Real Madrid, obviously, against Manchester City, which I'm going to be a Real Madrid fan for 90 minutes. Should we see if there's anything else where Arsenal's concerned before I see what you lot are doing? What's this? Arsenal evaluating summer move for star striker. Let's see what that is. On this day, we smacked up West Ham, by the way, people. Let's change. Oh, it already is the last hour. Where's that link gone? Arsenal have been linked with a host of strikers over the past few months. The Gunners lack an out-and-out centre forward in the side, especially after Gabriel Jesus' injury, and it makes sense for them to move for a striker. Toto Sport report Arsenal are looking at multiple strikers in Serie A to bolster their attack. Who is it? Is it going to be Vlahovic? Is it going to be Lautaro Martinez? Is it going to be Moise Kean? Oh, it's linked us again with Marcus Thuram, who's got an 85 million euros release clause. He's impressed this season, scoring 14 goals in all comps and assisting 8. We're not going for him, are we? So all of that is foolishness, in my opinion. But the dream is free. The hustle is sold separately. So yeah, man, what are you lot saying in the comments? Get your comments in, people, etc. Let me scroll all the way back. I tried it a different way. Tried to get through the tosh. And yeah, Zubimendi ain't coming to Arsenal. Probably not. By all means, go after Zubimendi as much as you want. But you see, once it's become clear that he's done something else, bring someone else in. I want players with the nickname The Magician. The good days, man. I remember when I used to take technical ability. And yeah, I'm not going to say these players aren't technical, but I used to take technical ability as an Arsenal fan for granted, man. The days of Cesc Fabregas, all these guys. And even going back to pivoting, yeah, about short-term solutions and that. When you break it down, going back to what we just read, it don't make sense because Sterling don't provide a long-term solution. You got him on loan. Matt Ryan didn't when we did it. Neto didn't, and there's probably other examples. William probably wasn't meant to be that, and you saw how that worked out. So it's not really making sense. I remember when United brought in Hendrik Larsson. I remember when we got Henry on loan. We all remember the Kim Kallstrongs and all this. Remember when we got Ceballos in January on loan. So it sounds great. All of the language around the club, it sounds great in isolation, and in isolation, it's not necessarily wrong. But when you start applying your brain, as I say, I don't tell you what to think, just to think. It don't make sense. Do you reckon we're going for Isak? I reckon they'll try, but like, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? You're gonna, the payment terms. Look, one thing is the transfer fee. The next thing is Newcastle wanting to sell, and then you're gonna have to make favorable terms that make it worthwhile for Newcastle. We might see, like in Declan Rice, 105 million, but we don't know how the installments work. We don't know how the variables work. If he plays, I don't know, 100 times for Arsenal, you get X, Y, Z. That it's not going to make sense. And Newcastle would have to sell. You need Isak to want to, really kick up a fuss. So I think we will. But the Isak thing is a dream. Just put the Seska on the bag, man. Put the Seska on the bag. When I saw we're going for Jota, I was like, they really only want Havertz up front. More chance of Zubimendi coming. Jorginho is leaving and Partey. We need midfielders. We need forwards too. I don't really want to see only Havertz up front next season. You're not alone. I'm taking Nico Williams. I mean, the Nico Williams rumours will persist. And even that, like, that's another one. Nico Williams, Zubimendi, quote-unquote Sesko, Garcia, they've all got release clauses. But again, it's not a thing where Arsenal are going to approach it like, Zubimendi, 50 mil release clause, bang. Joan Garcia, bang. This one, bang. We're clearly going to try and say, you know what? Their release clause might be 50 million. We'll give you 56 if you allow us to play around a bit with how we're going to pay the piece. I don't know, man. Like, because as much as you look from purely a sport, I think us Arsenal fans, rightly or wrongly, yeah, and I think it leads to our disappointment. I'm not saying it's acceptable, but you have to look at Arsenal, in my opinion, through two lenses. Obviously, from a sporting front, we're probably going to finish second again. Finish second. Finally, a half-decent team again. We all know striker, winger, all these things were good. We all know we missed out against City by 2 points last season. We all know the summer we had from a sporting point of view is dead. We all know we didn't do what we needed to do to get over the line, right? But then when you look at it, the club is happy with like the owners are happy with Champions League football. There's clearly PSR, or we're being fed, drip fed that rightly or wrongly. All the language keeps going around PSR, FFP, the need for balance sheets and things. So when you deep it, we'd have to really and truly, we'd have to. I think if we won a league title, apart from Arteta and the players who got their own question marks, it would be in spite of everything at the club, man. If I'm honest with you, Saka should focus on a healthy recovery and not push himself to come back early. I agree with that, and he knows that. But these men are athletes. He wants to play a key part. Sometimes I think you have to save a player. Liverpool have been lucky with injuries. Well, we were lucky last season, quote unquote, even though we had 3 long-term absentees. And what we do with it? It is what it is, really. Sometimes you get fortunate, sometimes you don't. What I would say is you put your best foot forward and make sure you've got enough depth. For the last year or so, I keep hearing the manager say we've got one of the smallest squads. In the summer, did we do anything around that? No. We took a step forward and then a step back. So are we confusing movement with progress? And we all know this year being the third year of fighting for a title, it was either going to be we get over the line or there's regression. And there clearly is regression. So yeah, Calafiori's always injured. Timber playing centre back means we have no right back because Ben White has disappeared. Ben White's back in training. He's probably going to be the first one back from injury. God knows where Tomiyasu is, man. Barca would easily get Isak over Arsenal, no brainer. MLS can play left back higher than Arsenal. Man United in the same sentence is insane. Arteta can't get us over the line at the moment. He's showing he can't. I don't back Sesko, man. I need better. We're not gonna get Isak and them man there though, man. Finally, good to have Benny back, but you never know how players recover. Could be like Timber or Tomiyasu. And where Saka, obviously Saka's not playing, but Ben White is. We need to be cute and clever, really and truly. Like, just because he's passed off fit and back in training, don't mean you got 90 minutes. Don't mean you're actually willing and ready to. Well, I think willing is not the right word because he is, but you're ready to participate. And again, this is assuming there's no setbacks. And 9 times out of 10, when a man's been out for long, they're gonna have little niggles. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Ben White comes back, he plays 30, 40 minutes. He might, the next game after that, he might not necessarily be in the match day squad. The same probably is gonna have with Saka. Tomiyasu is probably the best poster boy of that. Timber had little knocks as well, and to be fair, I'm sure Timber and Arsenal probably didn't expect him to play as much minutes as he has at the moment. Obviously, he's a quality player, but you get the point. We also need a centre-back to prepare for when Saliba's gone. I'm with you with that. I have a question for you. If it's up to you to buy players and you have unlimited cash, how would you spend the money for players? Well, then, if we got unlimited cash, Newcastle, I'll give you a blank piece of paper. What do you want for Isak? And then we'll talk from there. I'm getting Isak. If we got unlimited money, then boy, I'm not only going to buy players that impact us right now. I'm going for Kareem Adeyemi. I'm going for Ryan Cherky. I'm going for players with a lot of upside as well, man. Why are we talking about signings in 2025? Win the Prem or get the F out of my club? I mean, nobody's going to leave, innit? I think that's what I hated about the hate on Watkins. People too worried about age in future seasons when reality he could have helped us get over the line this season. People get caught in the trap of just it's always next year or long-termism and whatnot. Sometimes you have to pivot. And again, what the club is feeding you and what they're doing, they've clearly gone against it. Because if you're talking, I know he's younger, but if you're going over this mandate of young players, you don't get Moreno because he's 28, 29, however old. You don't get Jorginho in the first place, which again, they pivoted. We need the midfield there or someone old. You're still not reliant on Thomas Partey. You're not bringing in Neto. You're not going for Sterling on loan, which these are not long-term options. You have to pivot. We're pivoting at the wrong times where we need long-term solutions. And then when we need to pull a rabbit out the hat and people are like, oh my God, it means we're not going to get a striker in the summer. I hear that. There's logic behind that. But at the end of the day, there's no guarantee you're going to get Isak, which I'd love to be wrong isn't going to happen. There's no guarantee Arsenal go for Gyökeres, which I don't think is going to happen. Sesko, I feel, is quote-unquote realistic, but you're not going to have a free run at it. You know, you can dot I's and cross T's on personal terms. You can be in constant contact with him. But until that signing's over the line, there you have it. Obviously, I don't think it's realistic for what it's worth. Sesko, Watkins, and you've got Kai Havertz, because you'd imagine... Listen, I don't think Kai Havertz should be alienated, but going back to what I said about the strongest team, right? Kai Havertz is not going to, especially if you bring in a midfielder, he's not in anybody's conversations in their strongest midfield three. Neither is he if we do what we need to do in the attacking sense up front. Kai Havertz can be part of this. If his form's out of this world like it was back end of last season, he doesn't necessarily need to be dropped. That's your thing. But it's a squad thing. So my point is, it's probably not realistic to expect, 2 strikers and you've got Kai Havertz there. Midfield, you're probably only going to bring in, I think I would love to, but the club will factor their thinking around, yeah, we've got Moreno, we've got Rice, we've got this new midfielder who comes in, Jorginho and Partey going, which could tip the balance and make sure another one comes in. You've now got MLS who can play there as well as making a name for himself at left back. You've got Odegaard and Ethan, and you've also got Kai. Watkins definitely would have helped us a bit early today. I don't trust it. Even Sporting won't afford if they lose Gyökeres in the summer. It might be Sesko. You never know. Weirder things have happened, but I very much doubt Sesko will go Sporting. I think he's going to end up in the Prem or one of the quote-unquote stronger leagues. Liverpool will look at lesser that you, but you can't diss you. Tom ain't no fraud, but big up Tom, my guy, man. That shouldn't even go on screen. Big up Tom, my guy. Definitely not fraud. Done a lot for me, mate. Big up Tom. Every time, make sure you're following the Gooner talk. Liverpool will look at Semenyo for sure. That'd be a problem. Even that, and this is where I get annoyed, yeah, in general, because by all means, go find value on the market. As I always say, in principle, self-sufficient, balance sheets, all of those things that Arsenal come out with, I'm not against it. But then when I put my look at it from a point of view, what do? You either find these players before they come with the price tags, or whether you think you're getting bumped or not, you pay the asking price. Everyone in the Prem's got P's. You know, yeah, naturally, respect. The same way we can't really say nothing to Saliba if you want to go Real Madrid. Respectfully to Bournemouth, if Liverpool and Arsenal and all these guys are onto your players, naturally, you have to keep it stepping. But they're not forced to sell. We're in a day and age where you go back to when Zanolio was linked with a move to the Premier League. Bournemouth, respectfully, Bournemouth and AC Milan are going toe-to-toe for a player. I've never seen that in my 29 years. The TV rights and the Premier League riches are here. All the other leagues are there. That's why them man there want to go for the Super League. And then you look at the La Liga, you ain't... Obviously, Real Madrid, Barcelona, it is what it is. It's still a big game. But it's not Messi and Ronaldo anymore. It's you don't even get the Atletico dark horses thing anymore. The money in the Premier League is absolutely crazy. So you have to pay the going rate. And this is where I get frustrated, because if you don't, go scout. But this is where I don't take too much stock. Of course, you know, Kudus, Cunha Newcastle not a small club, but the best of the rest, or the traditional top 5 or top 6, Cunha, Kudus, Isak. Someone will say Matoma in there. You get where I'm going. Semenyo doing great at Bournemouth. Even their centre-back, Heinchen or whatever his name is, he's definitely getting bought. And smart investment. Juventus, that's a healthy. You've got to pay the piece. You've got to pay the piece. Like 50 million. For me, 50 million in my head, in my 29 years, 50 million for me is still a mad transfer fee. I don't know why, but that's my old cap on. I still think 50 million is still a bit mad, but 50 million is probably the new 20 now. And you could argue it's not what a player's worth. It's what you can hustle, really. And also, respectfully to Bournemouth, Semenyo might have an asking price of 50, 60 million, but to the team, you could argue he's worth more than that, because they're going to have to source their own little replacement, etc., etc. Mac, one love, man. I'd have Diaz at Arsenal. I would, but, rumors seem like he's on going to Spain. Seems like he can't act the cold weather. Liverpool getting kicked off the park Wednesday. We will be doing a watch-along for that. I'd take Keane if Jesus is sold, but he's injured, which sucks. Probably, in an ideal world, if we were going to move on Jesus, I'm having Ollie Watkins and Sesko, but it's not going to happen. Liverpool don't even want to pay Trent, but they'll drop 100 on Isak. To be fair, they dropped 90 on a goalie, which who else can say that? They dropped 70, 80 on the centre half. I don't know if FFG are going to go for that, but yeah, man. Off topic, but when MLS and Ethan are established squad players, which shirt numbers do you think they could get? Well, to be fair, I think Ethan should get the 10 shirt already. I'll be absolutely honest. Like, I've seen William Gallas during the Emirates era wear it, so it don't mean anything. I've seen Eddie Nketiah wear the number 14. So all this talk around, it's a big number, which it is, and the pressure and all of that is jazz. And to be fair with you, it's a big number, but I very much doubt any player that's wearing a shirt goes into a game and thinks, oh my God, I got this shirt on. Apart from the club badge, I think, I need to do something here. I'm giving him the 10. Ethan is a bit techie, because I still want to see you make a song and dance in midfield, but I just feel Mikel Arteta, you're gonna play wherever in it. Saka was left back, he ended up right wing. I'm saying number 3 because Tierney's going to leave. I think Lewis Skelly can control that. I'd love to see Lewis Skelly get a crack in midfield. I know in the game he's playing in midfield. I just don't. I don't know if that is going to happen. There is a reality if we, have a cleaner run with injuries and all our fullbacks are available. Lewis Skelly could play in midfield, but you'd imagine it's Declan Rice, this new Don, whoever that is, Odegaard, Lewis Skelly, and Ethan. And thank the Lord for their emergence, really and truly. Yeah, we're not getting it. I big up my guy Yard, man. My guy, man. Make sure you're subscribing. for Saka's sake, I hope he does not come back this year. He needs a rest. I'm conflicted, bro, because I want to see Saka, and if he signed off, and I'm sure the man wants to play. But then I'm with you in that it might as well just write the season. Well, the season feels like a write-off, anyways. It is a write-off. Let the man come back stronger, and it's a shame via these circumstances, but Saka's forced to sit down now. Obviously, he's in Dubai, he's training and that, but he's forced to sit down. This is a man where I do think too much is being said about rest and all of that. Salah's playing every minute, all the time, and has been, but we need to be a bit cute and clever. And to be fair with you, this season, where I've looked at, especially Benjamin White and Saka, we've probably been owed their injuries, because there's been many a times where they could have been rested, or if we brought in certain players, they could be rested. It is what it is, especially Benjamin White. Like as well, no, Benjamin White's been playing with serious. Like Benjamin White's commitment to this football club is crazy, really and truly. Even going back to the year, ironically, we lost to Spurs and Newcastle away from home, and he's playing with a hamstring tear, so it was needed, man. Left wing Bacola or Nico, centre mid Zubamendi, striker Isak, that'd be 200 million, but the club better spend since last summer spent less than 100 mil. The Isak thing is a myth, man. It's a myth. Again, I want to be wrong. Before all of this, we need Arteta out. You know what? Arteta's not cutting, though. He's not cutting. For me, with Arteta, I do like you, I do like you from a coaching point of view, but again, for me, it's over the line. And without of context, if I was to draw up your performances in the Europa, in the Champs, in the FA, in the League Cup, and all the competitions, the Prem, you've fallen short. Winners win, losers explain. So if you left, I wouldn't care. What I would say now is, end of the day, my man signed a 3-year deal before a ball was kicked this year. He's not going anywhere. So, like, I'm not saying we shouldn't have question marks around Arteta, but it's kind of redundant, really and truly, innit? He'd have to walk, if I'm honest. Bobby, appreciate you. Whoever we bring in the summer, they best bring them in early so they get pre-season, no last-minute business or panic loads. You know Arsenal don't do that. Like, when was the last time we just woke up and like, yo, we signed the player? Probably Fabio Vieira. And I only say that because I'm sure, and obviously he didn't go and do anything really, but that's the last time. We all know it's a long, dragged-out saga. Odegaard was that. Moreno was that. Calafiori was that. Declan Rice was that. To be fair, I don't think Kai Havertz was that, but Kai might have been that. Jesus, we moved fairly quickly. I actually think when we signed Jesus, the season weren't done, if I remember correctly. Everything's dragged out, even the ones that don't happen. Mudryk, Caicedo, Douglas Luiz, Cunha, Sesko, and there's probably some I've missed out, man. To be honest, I'm kind of hard to be Arteta out while he's beating Pep. For me, if Arteta stays, you stay. I'm in the middle ground. Like, I think there's valid reasons for Mikel Arteta to be sacked. Like, I do think that, and I don't think there's wrong. And I think there's valid reasons to keep with him. As I said, if he leaves, he leaves. If the club were to show me a pattern like, yo, this manager's gonna come in, want to win the league, he can get us over the line. Fair enough. I'm loyal to my football club, not Mikel Arteta. But he's gonna stay. He's getting Champions League football. They've committed so much to him. They're gonna keep committing. The club are not what. Bearing in mind, he's not even halfway through this new deal. Like, again, Arsenal and Cronkies who care about their balance sheet, right? You lot are talking about transfers, yeah? Let's just assume in some crazy world we're gonna sign Isak. Big up Foxy. Like, this crazy world, we're gonna spend 120 million on Isak, right? Just stay with me. 120 million on Isak. The 50 on Zubamendi. Yeah, that's about 200 odd. This Garcia lad in goal. 20 million. Add that to the kitty. Anything else in terms of signings Arsenal want, and then assume Arteta is sacked. He's on like a 15 mil contract or something. They have to pay up his compensation package and obviously, his coaching staff. And assuming, like, I would like Xabi Alonso, for example, you're going to have to pay Leverkusen some sort of compensation and bring in his own dons. And you're going to have to allow them to tear up the team. It's not going to happen for a manager, for an owner that you look can see how the Cronkies are going on. So for me, I'm like, I don't think anyone's above criticism. And I hate the fact that for those positive toxic dons, they will gas up Arteta to the high heavens, but never ask any fair questions of him. It's like you're saying something blasphemous if you ask a question on Arteta. But at the end of the day, for me, I think it's redundant now. Like, the man's he's clearly not going anywhere. Like, he's not going nowhere. The club have struck gold. You can never put Arteta in the same vein as Arsene Wenger. But in terms of the Champions League, you've got us there. I actually feel Mikel Arteta has got us back in certain conversations sooner rather than later. The people above Arteta don't want to be winners. The fine margins, Arteta hasn't found a way to be on the right side of them. We haven't looked after the depth. We haven't added quality. So a lot of factors would have to go right for Arsenal to win a Premier or a Champs. There's never going to be, from top to bottom, one consistent thing. A team that wants to salvage the league, you don't have the January that we had. A team that wants to win the Premier League, you don't have the summer that we had. Regardless of if we wanted Nico Williams, Sesko, we couldn't get them. You get someone else. Now, I'm just a fan. I can't tell you who to have signed. But there's other clubs that would have been in that situation. We sat here and we saw, January is difficult to do, business is difficult, and all of this is valid. Other teams made movements, you know. Tommy on crutches again. I love Tommy, but it's looking like you got to go, man. We just paid off Rice. West Ham wanted 50 mil up front and then 50 the next. They weren't on the corner payment thing at all. And then and that's another point added to what I said. The payments were already paying. And Saliba, assuming that Saliba, Saka, Gabriel Magalhaes, Martinelli, Ethan, and Lewis Skelly aren't going to, in terms of their contracts, ain't going to break anything. But you see what I'm saying? That's a lot of P's. It's not going to happen, is it? With the injury crisis, second in the Premier is the highest we'll achieve. I think it's more likely that we'll get third or fourth. For real, smash the like, you lovely lot. Apartment of Defense, big up yourself, man. Big up yourself, Jay. I won't say the second part of your name. You know, let's just say you're not quite good at picking football teams to support, but you know how to pick content creators, man. Yeah, Barcelona look like they're going to win La Liga. But what I mean on a consistent basis in relation to the El Clasico comment, there used to be a time where Premier League, or in my 29 years, Premier League and La Liga were like that. Everyone was watching Prem, everyone was watching La Liga. Nobody really cares if they don't watch El Clasico nowadays. Like, we've got a Spurs fan here, whatever team you support, as well as Arsenal. It didn't matter what team you supported or what was going on. You could not. El Clasico is the biggest game of the Premier League. Of the football calendar list. You can watch it on highlights now. And to be fair, I am enjoying the relegation race in La Liga. Liverpool next 4 games will tell. They've got too much of a margin for error. Order of striker priority is at Gyökeres, Osimhen, Boniface, Sesko. People add more, change the order. Gyökeres will end up at United, I reckon, as well. Arsenal should be looking at the next forward coming through. He'll be a star, and that's, I can't say the Greek lad's name, but we'll try again. Katalampos Kulistas. I mean, that's great, but I want a ready-made one as well. Sign both. If you think he's a young star ready to make the step up, sign him. If he can be part of the first team in some capacity, great. If he needs to go on loan, great. But I do think at Arsenal, we always get caught on next season, the next 5 years and whatnot. Where great, you should always future-proof. You should always be looking at tomorrow. You should always learn from hindsight and apply better foresight. But it's also a case of right now. What's going on right now? If you get paid your wage, obviously you're going to put a bit of money down, rainy day. You might want to go on holiday in a year or so, whatever. But you still need to spend money right now. You still need to eat, roof over your head, etc. And I think a lot get conflicted. 100% 50 is the new 20. Exactly. 50 ain't really like. I wonder how many men have been bought for 50 odd million quid. Like 50 is nothing. And you got to remember, in the Premier League, yeah, because of the money. And I'm not saying this wrong, but it's very much a British football supporters rhetoric or Premier League rhetoric. Yeah, you could buy a striker for 100 million. And it doesn't work. Sign another striker. Everything is just around money. You spend money, it don't work, money. Other countries that are not flush with cash, I'm not saying man don't spend peas, but you have to find other solutions. And they're only going to get more money. Saka is going to push himself to return. Who said forget the Champions League? We're in I don't think we're winning the Prem. I don't think we're winning the Champs. I think we all know how peak it is for Arsenal at this moment in time. But what's the alternative? To sit in a corner like some pussios or give it a go? We know we're not getting over the line. And I don't want no one at this football club to feel sorry for themselves. Until the season is done, when May comes, feel sorry for yourself. Lick your wounds, cry as much as you want. Right now, get back on it. Simple as that. Like, I want to be wrong more about the Champs than the Prem. Who doesn't? Nobody on YouTube that supports Arsenal wants our team to win a league more than me or a trophy more than me. I want to be wrong. I hope Arsenal win one of the biggest trophies or the big trophies, and you lot click me up and say, "Oh, it really is deluded." Really? Is there any cold-hearted evidence? Forget Liverpool. Forget all the teams in the Champs. Just look at your damn football club. Yeah. Is there any reason, concrete evidence to be optimistic? There's reasons to be blind optimistic and do the kumbaya thing. And yeah, Liverpool can drop points, which again, forget other things. Because when you start dealing with other variables before you exhaust your own, you're in issues. It's not making sense. You're hoping a madness happens. You're hoping Ethan does a madness. But the reality is you're relying on Kai Havertz, who's not a 20-goal scoring midfielder. You did at striker. We didn't improve our depth. We do not have any match winners, especially with Saka's injured. Saka is injured. We don't know who else is going to get injured. We've shown that we can score 90-odd goals and put teams to the sword and score 3, 4, 5 goals. But simultaneously, when our backs are against the wall, like Liverpool in the FA Cup last year, like Aston Villa ×2 last year, like the couple of games against Newcastle. The best example being West Ham at home. When we just need to put the ball in the back of the net, high pressure circumstances, and like in the champs against Bayern, fine margins, are we on the right side of that? No, we're not. And I'm not trying to be critical because it's trendy about the club. This is the reality. I'm not going to tell you it's sunny and it's raining. It don't make sense. There's too much fallacy. And in life, you should dream. There's nothing wrong with dreaming. Unpopular opinion, I think you should always be ambitious and dream. But you need to look at the concrete evidence. You're lying. You can hide behind 90 goals, best team of 2024, all of them jazz statistics, which show that there's something positive to be. But what are we doing with it? Because we're still moaning about the same things, but we're second. So that tells you we've got different problems. But fundamentally, the conversation is getting over the line. We ain't got no sporting director as well. So like we're not moving serious, bro. Like we're not moving like a team that wants to win these things. I think Arteta and the boys want to win, but again, there's other question marks with that. I'm talking about the head bottom, and it filters through. Arteta shot himself in the foot several times and not learning from those lessons in terms of fine margins to get us over the line. The players, I don't think enough of you have that dog in you. I think you all can play when it's time, but when your backs are against the wall, there's only a couple man I bet on. There's too many purple patch players. And this ain't me trying to criticize my team. This is, you see, when you're looking at winning the league title, you have to look at it a lot harsher. That's just me, though. I don't know, man. Crazy that if Koza Dewberry or Chido Obi Martin was still here, they try in the first team. You got to do what you can, man. You know, Koza Dewberry, that might be the case, but he's got X amount of championship appearances. If Obi Martin gets an opportunity at United, we'll revisit that. Saka is always going to be a B7. Big up my guy forwards. Calafiori will get free, probably. You see that scar on Saka's leg, Mikel? You have blood in your hands. I'm not gonna lie, yeah. A couple people, not you, but a couple people are moving south, man. Like he's had surgery, he's got a scar, man. Like, I can't believe the social media stuff around it. It's a battle wound, man. Thank the Lord that you're still going. Season isn't a write-off. Try to keep winning try to keep getting W's in the league in case Liverpool stumble. Still in the champs. Saka returning could be the catalyst. Charlie, I hear you, and that's all you can do is peak. I don't think we win anything, but there's no point down in tools. You might as well just try and get as many points and do all of that jazz as much as you can. Pinning too many hopes on Saka, as great as he is, because obviously he's going to need time to get up to speed and whatnot, and the season could be written off more than it already is written off before then. I wouldn't say it's a write-off, but it quote unquote is a write-off, really. If we're not winning a trophy, for me, it's a write-off. Like, yeah, I want to see players improve and all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, you look at the point, man. If we don't get Zubimendi, which 6 would you like the club to get? Admittedly, I'm happy I'm not part of this guy in recruitment. DG, would you rather win the Prem 3 times back-to-back or take 1 Champions League every 20 years guaranteed? We ain't won the champs, though. You know what? 3-peat, man. That'd be lit. Creeper, 1 love. I blame the Cronkies. I blame everyone, bro. Everyone gets blamed. I can't say Mikel Arteta is to be blamed for everything, but you're defo not without major faults. Owners, you're not without major faults. The players, you're the ones playing. If we sack Mikel Arteta, which at this point, you can see my position on Mikel Arteta. There's no guarantee that we're going to be successful. I do think maybe a manager does things differently last year. Maybe they could have won the Prem. But we're not set up for sustained success. I genuinely think if we won the league last year, we still have the same summer we had this year. I've got to the point now, like, it's the only, like, this ain't alleviating Arteta or anything, but until the owners cut, which they're not cutting, they bought the club in 2018, merchandise and that, just going to have to flute things, man. To be fair, during the non-summer competition season started, signings came in early. Zinni, Jesus, Fabio, Kai, Timber, Declan. Fair enough. Upgrading Arteta is probably the fine margin we're looking for, probably. If we don't get Zubamendi or Isak, wouldn't surprise me. We go and get Sesko and then go all in for Belemba. You needed to get Belemba when he was at Lille, because now what are Brighton going to tell you? 60, 70, 80 million. Like, it is what it is. It's hustle or be hustled. I can't lie, I'm not under him in this thing, man. Just imagine if we won the champs with this squad and manager. I can't imagine it. I want to do this. Better chance Champions League. Disagree. I think you more chance in the Prem, man. I just don't think we control the fine margins enough in the champs. I think you're playing some good teams there. I still think the Premier League is a big arc, and there isn't any margin for her, but I think there is. I don't think any of these trophies are landing, man. But it's interesting viewpoints. It is what it is. We're relying on youngers up top in second half and Saka to somehow come back if we're still even in the champs or the Prem race. If there ain't a Sporting DOF when the summer comes around, we've got Jason Ito still doing it, then we should all panic. It's crazy, man. Let's be honest. Liverpool are smoking Everton probably, but they're the only team I've got any faith are going to take something off Liverpool at this moment in time, just because David Moyes seems to have them playing. Everton ain't really got much beyond just spoiling Liverpool's night. But yeah, they probably are getting smoked, man. Moyes Keane dropped a shocker last night versus Inter. It's also hoping when Arteta gets sacked, things will become fine. Instead, the fans will put more pressure to the new manager and have higher expectations. But would you sack Arteta if we don't win anything? It's redundant, though, because he's not going to get sacked. So, like, that conversation is gone. Like, you're not going to get sacked. We can sit here and talk about what you've done well, what you've not done well. You've signed the deal before the season kicked off. There's no point. Like, respectfully, like the whole Arteta in-out stuff is boring me now, because it's not good. Nothing is going to change. Like, we're at where we're at. It is what it is. I support the football club. We just have to see. We just have to take everywhere as it comes, innit, man? But it's redundant convo now, man. If it was my decision, a serious conversation has to happen, man. I would, if it was up to me and I make decisions, the first thing I'm gonna do, and that's not just to say Arteta to stay. I'm gonna see what certain managers that I think could do something at Arsenal. For me, Xabi Alonso, which again is a dream. I'm gonna see genuinely what you're doing. If that's not the case and don't want to sign, then I'm not necessarily gonna pull the trigger yet. But there has to be serious question marks. And if it was my decision, well, I think we would. It's easy for me to say. I genuinely think we win the title, because there's certain things that would happen, man. To be honest, considering the season has been unfortunate with injuries, we are still second. Hope you're well, Stevie. I hear that, and that's the problem, though. Like, we're still second, and is it because we're just better than a lot of other teams, or whether it's City doing what they did in the previous years, them being City, and Arsenal just probably over a course of a season being better than others, or you've got Liverpool where we've been able to stay consistent. Liverpool are doing what they're doing. Evidently, we've shot ourselves in the foot. We're still across a season better than the most. Really, like this has been the worst title challenge I feel of the 3 years, because I've not been happy from the start of the season. At least 2022, 23, breath of fresh air. Last year, I think there were some good moments, but winners win and losers explain, man. Like, there's nothing etched in history. Any chance you go through fixtures with predictions? I did that yesterday, So yeah, check that out. I did that in the stream yesterday. This is my point about, hey, I can't pronounce my man's name. Kulustus, get these types now instead of waiting 5 years when they're worth 80. Exactly. And that's the thing. Arsenal are going to wait. And when you get, like you said, Gamara's right there at Lyon, for some reason, nobody's made movements. You're not an Arsenal player. You cost however much you cost for Newcastle now. And if anyone wants to buy him. Sociedad, Newcastle did their due diligence. I'm sure when Newcastle signed him for 80 million, fans were ooming and ahhing, but the ones in charge did their due diligence. So you either get them in early, or once they end up at Newcastle or this one and that one, you say, fair enough, put the P's down. Carlo Ancelotti. I wouldn't be against Carlo, but for Carlo to work at Arsenal, I think you need Carlo. For me, for this thing to work, you need to go get that strike. You get everything that we're talking about. Carlo can do a thing. We can't have Carlo here and we're flapping around with in goal and this and that. Like, make sure everything's there. Carlo, get us over the line. Managers I would take at Arsenal: Inzaghi, Alonso, Michael Sanchez, Zidane, Simeone, Conte, Flick, Tuchel, Mourinho. What do you think of the list? I love Mourinho, but nah, Tuchel, you're at England. Flick, I do like the way you're playing with Barcelona. Conte, you are a proven winner. It's a no from me. Simeone, I love the mentality. It's a no from me. Zidane, bit like what I said with Carlo. Inzaghi, I'm having him. Alonso would be mine, man. MLS at left wing is the only thing that can save us now. Mikel needs to do an extreme madness. I don't know about that. You say that, but we bought Fabio Lokonga Tavares. The talent ID's on the floor, bro. It's on the floor. Like, when we're identifying good players, we're not bringing them in. Like, so it's fun and games telling me, oh, we've been watching Isak since he was at Sociedad. Gamara's this, Sesko that, this one, that one. If you're not bringing them in, that's dead. Like, it's dead. And again, I'm not asking us to have 100% success rate with talent ID. No club is going to have that. You are going to fumble. But again, define margins. You need to get over the line. Everyone connected to this football club has to indirectly be judged harsher. What got us top 4 and consistently being second is not what's going to get us over the line. It's the same positives, the same negatives, the same reasons that we shot ourselves in the foot. In this, I genuinely believe, up from the summer to now, they were there in the previous year. We're never going to sign Watkins. It was a PR move, hence why we never paid him full price. Even that, man, and that tells me everything because, cool, you tried to be smart, 40 million for Watkins. It didn't bang. Take that 40 million. You could make some, I don't know who, but surely something could have happened in January. It didn't. We're at. While we were rewarding the players with a trip to Dubai when we're knocked out both cups. To be fair, obviously, if it was up to me, they'd be in Croydon or Brixton or something. As I said yesterday, I don't think they should be in Dubai, but I don't think they're being rewarded for failure. And to be fair, everybody connected to the football club, all of you lot, you got to be running in that extreme Dubai. What is it, Dubai's? What would you see if someone's from Jamaica? You say Jamaican. What would you say for Dubai? I don't know in it, but in that heat, you lot need to be running in it. You lot need to be doing suicide runs and bleed tests and the rest of it, man. And to be fair, because I do like stuff like that from a coaching aspect, I'm not saying this is going to salvage our season, but from a psychological point of view, maybe a different environment can breed some different results. Now, I do think we come back from Dubai, we put a couple of results together, but we ain't going to do nothing serious. Would you ever collab with Lee Gunner and Northside? Yeah, why not? I've done maybe last year with Northside, and shout out Lee, man. And I big up Lee for putting that troll in his place, man. That same troll that was here yesterday chatting nonsense. I didn't even know he went over there and was doing foolishness. Absolute foolishness. Absolute foolishness. Moyes has something for Slot. I think Liverpool are going to rock up with minimum two trophies anyways, which is an undoubtedly good season in Slot's first year. I hope they're wrong. I hope I'm wrong, sorry. They're going to win the Prem. They got a good chance of the champs. They're in a cup final where Newcastle, give or take, you never know. But you'd imagine on paper, Liverpool are the favourites. They've gone out the FA Cup, so they're at least winning 2 trophies. I hope it's not another champs, though, man. I must admit, I'm getting jealous of other clubs in England winning Champions League. Bro, we've been to the same amount of Champions League finals as Spurs. Arsenal fans, young and old, big up you lot that are older than me because you might have actually seen Arsenal be serious in Europe. All I've seen is some good individual fixtures or some nights we stood up to, like Inter, Barca, Bayern, AC Milan, the list goes on. We ain't got over the line. We've not addressed the sins of Paris 06, let alone Baku. But I genuinely think before you start, obviously there's teams that have probably excelled more in Europe than they have in their own leagues. But I personally think you've got to learn to bully your own country first from a footballing point of view, winning Prems and FA Cups and all of that. And then you can start, obviously, simultaneously try to do both. But then you start talking about champs and the rest of it. Appreciate the kind words, man. Bungle, man. DG is right. Arteta's not going anywhere. Big up yourself, Doc. Yeah, man. Big him up. Mute him, bro. Anyone that's... Like, it's one thing to criticize someone's opinions, like in Lee's case, Lee, but you're going for a man's daughter. You're doing all this foolishness. Like, you deserve everything that's coming to you. And then in the day and age, I think he tried to play the mental health card where people are going through real issues with mental health. You chat shit online, you chat shit to someone shows you why you shouldn't, and now you're screaming, eat it thing. Why do we have a moral for our set piece coach? Because someone tell me Real Madrid's buying Barca. I don't know, bro. I don't know. For me, I don't know. Do you know what it is with that? Yeah. I'll be real. I don't care, Like, there's so much things that we need to pattern up. I think it's just fans having a bit of fun. It probably tells you the fans' mentality, but fans' mentality doesn't really mean much. That's not why we're not winning stuff. Like, it's cool. And I guess from a nice point of view, because you know what? These lots' work goes underrated. So it is a bit of a, you're doing a good job. But Arsenal fans are weird like that, man. There's too much things for us to care about. Sounds like the winger situation again. Top 4, all the Cronkies want. Did you mean Wenger? That night in 2000 against Galatasaray set the tone, sucked in Europe ever since. It's peak, bro. Arteta's not going anywhere, so it's dead, man. Like all that talk. I mean, we can scream, we can shout, we can make a case as to why we can progress with Arteta or keep him. Make a very valid case as to why he wants to go. The man's not going nowhere. So, not that our conversations mean anything as fans, but yeah, like it's long now. Like they do. Our fans are like, I've given up with a lot of things, man. It's too comfortable from our fans. Sometimes the players, definitely, Arteta, 1,000,000%. If anything, the Cronkies it's very nice. You lot would like to win. You're not dying to win, and this is why we're gonna fall up short every now and again. And we're not even. Pardon me. The same things that cost us last season are costing us now, innit? So if you keep doing the same things again and again, hoping for different results, what's gonna happen? If nothing changes, unfortunately, man. And yeah, don't remind me on the title challenge, bro. If you told me when we last won I was in primary school, when we last won the league, that Arsenal would be like this, I'd have called you a liar, man. I remember being called a glory hunter. Funny how things change, man. Like, I love my club, but damn, like, madness. Would you take Darwin Núñez? Babs said he would, and Arteta could save him. Big up Babs, but like, come on, man. I like Darwin, but I would say Darwin would be someone in the squad because he is someone that could win you a game and then also be effing shit. And nah, man, like we need to get away from the saving stuff, bro. Get guys like Ethan or Lewis Skelly or that Napan guy, young. If you want to do the project thing, get those young players with a bit about them and a decent little foundation. Work with them. Stop the damaged goods thing now, man. I don't think Darwin Núñez is as much damage as maybe Kai would have been, or a Sterling, or the Rashford. These guys are not going to help us like that. Forget that. Did you want Rashford? No, I didn't. Nope. Nope. I like the illusion of Marcus Rashford on paper. Like if you type him on YouTube, look at his highlights. Yeah, you could make a case Arteta could get a tune out of him. Obviously, bodies are dropping like flies, but he's going to provide more questions than answers. And I feel if we want to change our reality and be a team that wins stuff, we need more answers than questions. And we haven't got that. We're still talking about the same things. I'm not on that, man. Like Rashford ain't going to help us. Max Dolman's cold, but just let the man develop. We need guys who will come in and save us. If we had Chelsea's owners with a bit of competence or Newcastle's owners, we're laughing, man. Just watched the Tom Brady story. Maybe we should. Unfortunately, and I always say this, if you haven't watched the films Mighty Ducks or Coach Carter, go and watch them, innit? And that's unfortunately what we're like, man. Big up yourself, Stevie. Unfortunately, that's what we're like, man. Koulibaly looks kind of decent for Juventus, man. But you see what I'm telling you about the Italian league is scary, man. And that's the thing. Like, I do think there's context around why we haven't won trophies. But at the end of the day, success doesn't care about context. Success doesn't care about how Man United won in 99 and how Arsenal could have stopped them about twice. Success doesn't care about how the Invincibles got there and all of that. Yes, you need to look through context to improve and all of that, but getting over the line, no matter how like everybody knows I'm quite balanced. If we were to go through in the last 5 years or however long Mikel Arteta has been here in all the competitions and now in the last 3 years, the Premier League, right? Of course, there's some contexts and nuances around why we didn't win certain things. But if you want to be a winner, you have to look at it to a slight degree without context. And the only consistency is you haven't got over the line. Haven't got over the line. Nothing set in stone. Everything at this club, unfortunately, is geared towards winning. But the 1-2 things we really need to do to get over the line, we're not doing. It all goes back to ownership. Only thing you can blame the majority of fans is buying the PR merch that comes out and accepting Cronkies will stay. Get 2 strikers. Get Tony or the Radko for 30, 40 mil. Get Morata to bring on as a sub. I can't lie. Leave Morata. Is Ivan Toney going to be in a rush to return to the Premier League with the P's he's getting? You don't know me. I don't care about next. I don't care. I do not care about next season right now on the 11th of February. But a bit, my thinking will be the same in last season. You lot said I was being negative, and I should believe we could do all of this. Listen. If I see concreted evidence to believe we can win a league, I will come out with chest and say that. For Arsenal to win a league, you need every team to be shit. You need a lot of variables to go right. You need to hope that nobody gets injured and a lot of purple patch players extend their form. I don't want that. If I have a lot more belief that we're going to We got a striker that's getting those goals. You've got the squad players pulling their part. You've married the depth. I'd be a lot more confident. But until these things are addressed, I'm not gonna come out and say things for the sake of it. I'm not on being one of those Arsenal fans that gets into those scenarios where your hope is that much that you're twerking for Spurs to beat City. Spurs obviously getting washed in the one time against a team they're probably the most confident in, and then you feel like a prick. You say you don't care, but you keep making videos about next season, next summer. I mean, we've got to I'm not even going to reply to that. We need to read between the lines, man. But to make it obvious, we are in February. At this moment in time, I don't necessarily care about next season. We are in February. Signings in 2025-26 is all amazing. And of course I care, but I don't care at this moment in time because they can't play for us. They can't help us salvage anything. Get where we're going? All right. Big up yourself, Ace. I don't know about the last bit, but yeah, big up yourself. I will take Frimpong. He says he wants to link with Saka in an interview I watched yesterday. They grew up together throughout the academy. Decent player, can't really defend, but I can't lie. I'm not trying to sign, man, just because you worked with Saka, bro. Like, just because you're Saka's boy. To be honest, I do think we are closer to winning the league than most think. Yes, it takes a lot of variables, but don't lose hope, brother. As fans, it's still okay to hope. You can hope. I have not once said man can't hope, But for me, it's blind hope. It's blind hope because I need my team to be near enough perfect. I have to place a lot. The current climate now, I have to hope Saka gets back fully fit. I have to hope young Ethan can shoulder the burden. I have to hope these purple patch players pull their weight. I have to hope there's no injuries. I have to hope Liverpool fall off a cliff. That's too much blind hoping. I'm not on that. Like, I'm not. For me, it don't make sense. Of course, we win. The minimum Arsenal can do is just keep going, keep winning, see where they go from there. That's dead for me. That's just blind optimism. That's like saying I want to pass a test, but I'm not going to revise. I'm not going to get a tutor. I'm not going to, do previous papers. That's dead. I want to think about it internally. If we want to be a team that just gets fourth in the top four and semi-finals here and there, and, there's statistics that say we're positive, we've got enough of that, We see if you want to get over the line. It's very evident what needs to happen. I'm not on that. I know very few things in life, like football, can capture someone's purest emotions. I'm not on the blind hoping. That's blind hope to me. I'm not on that. I think there's many positives around our club, but they're outweighed by the same old negatives that are not being changed. Boy, maximizing markets. You ain't done that. Fumbled the last two markets, whoever's fault it is. Still waffling about how small the squad is. Still don't know what you're going to get from the vast majority of our attacking players over a 38-game calendar. When these things change, my thoughts change. Nothing should be set in stone. And the toughest thing is, I actually think we got a good little base, a good little foundation. I think that, contrary to popular beliefs, you cannot believe in these players and Mikel Arteta. You don't have to behave like we're getting relegated. There's a certain grounding. We are close, but we're so close yet so far. If nothing changes, nothing changes. Yeah, no, there is a Champions League watch along. I will be here with Lee Judges at 3 p.m. 7:50, 10 minutes before kickoff. We're watching City, Real Madrid. Let me post the link once again, man. Don't forget to smash the like button, all that good stuff, people. Post that link there for you, mate, in case. To be fair, Arteta didn't blame the ball though. They took his took his stuff out of context, but still, I don't want to hear that one. We didn't improve it. It's all a sideways step, and there's many gears, bro. I can't like. It's not even a case of being realistic, Blackgate. It's just that I can only comment on what's in front of me. I'm someone that if I feel it's raining, what am I going to tell you is sunny? If it's sunny, what am I going to tell you is raining? Which I think is 9 times out of 10 with Arsenal. It's sunny with a rainy forecast. That's how our season is. There'll be issues that will kick down the curb. We'll get wins and we'll keep moving. And then people only want to see what's in front of them when it's collapsed. It is what it is, man. Yeah, I don't know for the Zesty fans in it, but I like Calafiori. We need dark arts in the boardroom as well as on the pitch. To be fair, I disagree with that one. But the thing that bothers me is why Can teams like Chelsea, City just buy player after player? It's okay, but we're limited to choosing Havertz, or is that due to PSR? Whatever, choosing is that because of that? And again, I don't know. What I would say is either we cry about how the game's rigged, or we learn to rig the game for us. And to be fair, I don't think PSR was why we didn't do what we did or didn't. I think there was an element, but I can't blame that for last season. Can't blame that for this season. Because when we spent money, we haven't got too much bang for our bucks. And it is what it is, man. Don't fancy City to score. Yeah, City and Chelsea, they make serious. That's what Arsenal need to do. They make serious money with their young players. And especially because them lot got bottomless pits in it. If we could get to a scenario where we're selling random young players for 2 million, 3 million, 10 million, 20 million, I know it doesn't work like this, but in theory, some of that could be put towards, I know we're not getting Isak, but because Foxy's a Newcastle fan, the Isaks, etc. We're losing decent players for compensation packages because we're complacent. We're comfortable. So it is what it is, man. Yeah, I wouldn't terminate Jesus's contract because I don't see Arsenal paying that up for one. Two, I know it's harsh, but bro, like, you can't just rip up a man's contract after ACL, man. Get back to fitness and we'll deal with that. Even if he never had an ACL, which to have a second one, there's a big issue with that now, but it is what it is, man, really. But with that being said, though, man, for me, people, it's lunchtime. I appreciate you lots of opinions, differences of opinions, critique of Arsenal, critique of my opinions, yada, yada, yada. This was the first of 3 live bits of content from myself. I'm back at 3 p.m. with Lee Judges, which big up Lee. He always says some good stuff. It's a chance for me to shut up and pick his brains. 7:50, we're watching City against Real Madrid, in which Hala Madrid for 90 minutes or 180 across 2 legs. Tomorrow, we're watching Everton versus Liverpool. If you don't want to do a Champions League watch along tomorrow, we'll change it, but yeah, and yeah, over the weekend it's Leicester Arsenal, and you know, clips and watch alongs and all these things come out. So yeah, man, you lot smash the like button, all that good stuff. One love, man. Against this right back, Charlie.